Good evening. 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 We are done Neolithic, everything. We just have to discuss the sites. We'll wait 2-3 minutes and then we'll start. Good evening. Good evening. Neolithic, then we move to non-Harappan Chalcolithic, and then we move to Indus Valley Civilization. Three big topics. This is the biggest topic. This is already done. We only have to discuss sites. This is a very small discussion. Simanpreet will do that. Was the development of agriculture in Lalothe because of increasing population? No. It's a chance discovery based on systematic trial and error. We'll discuss the characteristics, don't worry. Summary will be there, don't worry about that. Good evening, good evening. Are these archaeological sites accessible to people? Yes, most of them. Harappan sites issues is that most of them are in Pakistan. Most meaning the most known ones. Previous year questions will discuss topic wise. No. Once we cover a certain portion and the questions become relevant, we do it like that. Topic wise is not possible in history because questions don't come topic wise. Don't worry about the previous year questions. When the time will come, you will get it. We'll discuss that sumo. Domestication of animal having in upper Paleolithic? No, only Mesolithic. Yes, Aditya. Sonia, we have to discuss that point. But don't go by the NCRT with regards to that. Oversimplified. When we will discuss Buddhism, Jainism, when the time will come. No, Aditya. Is there any hunting gathering after the indulgence? No, there is. Hunting gathering till today exists. So it's not that agriculture comes, everybody shifts to agriculture. Persistence is there. What do you mean by civilization? We'll discuss that. Timeline I have to give you, yes. How do we interpret the depth of previous year questions? Substantiate on your question. What do you mean by depth? Depth is told by previous year. Then interpretation means what? Yesterday lecture related to pre or mains. Ancient medieval only comes in pre. Okay. So yesterday we covered a very interesting phase of history. I read sixth standard. A question came from it like where did agriculture like from like Ekta, write your question again. You're not making sense in that question. Depth of the question, Chandranath, I am already teaching you. So don't have to worry about that. It's GS level, it should be GS level, but UPSC can ask heavier questions. So the depth is not your concern, it's my concern. I'll figure that out. But I'm teaching you sometimes at NCRT level, sometimes at optional, sometimes at GS, sometimes at academic. So you don't have to worry about that. Homo erectus to Homo sapien, middle to upper Paleolithic. No, there is no negative impact of writing Indian in a word or in the examination. Okay. Hunting and gathering. Okay. Hunting, gathering, domestication of animals. Thereafter, this is where we discussed domestication of plants, early state formation, surplus production, and rituals and burials continue. Sedentary life means sedentary settlement. This is how you consolidate. This is called a timeline based approach. You consolidate in such a way that you're able to summarize everything in one basic slide. If you can remember this and if you can revise this, your job is done. This timeline will keep on expanding and will become bigger and bigger, bigger and bigger. So please understand this point. This is called timeline approach. Most of the questions can be managed by this. Most of the questions can be understood like this. So by the end of today, we will have another set of area. Can we make this slide only? You can't do it in the examination as it is. This is not a prelim. Please understand, it's a prelims oriented area. Nobody is asking you to write anything. This is called continuing. Continuing. Because if you could clarify about the sites, what is found in at what site is important. No, Puneet, you are not optional level student. That is of no purpose to you. So Paleolithic, Mesolithic, Neolithic, timeline, basic features, basic ideas, basic points are in front of you right now. Now, if you cannot remember what is complex society, then 24 hours it has been. So this is called Gajini effect, that you forget over 24 hours, which is not a good thing. Because in UPSC, if every 24, 48 hours you will start to forget things, then my basic expectation from you is that you will revise and come. Complex society is division of society according to different surplus or haves and have-nots having different stratas. But stop this. 24 hours, 15 minutes, 10 minutes. People can have 1 hour Gajini effect. Some can have 1 day Gajini effect. Which is next morning I say, what Neolithic, which Mesolithic, what Paleolithic, what Stone Age? No. This is not right. So when I'm moving forward, I'm not going to go backwards. That is a very simple point I'm telling you right now. Because you can't just study with me 3.5 hours. Next morning, don't remember anything. That is not the way it works. That is not the way it works. Ancient medieval is prelims orientation. You don't have to write it anywhere. Simple point is you have to understand these things. These are not difficult. There's a general progression which is happening from this being the most important change here and this to this being the most important change here. One point we can add is agri tools and pottery. Are we clear about this? Because then I discussed the Neolithic topics, what we call as Neolithic sites, and we move to Chalcolithic and the most important discussion, which is Indus Valley civilization. Adaptation of clothes in which age nobody knows. So it can be, there could be people who are wearing clothes in Paleolithic also, could be in Neolithic also, could be in Mesolithic also. There is nothing like that found because it will not survive. Clothes will not survive. So random books will tell you random things, doesn't really matter. UPSC will never ask you when did clothes emerge. That's a very, very easy question and too dumb a question to be asked by UPSC. Okay. Domestication of plants, agriculture, domestication of animals, microliths, burials and rituals. Okay, can I start? Everybody's yes comes and we move forward. This is called timeline. I keep on expanding it. It becomes bigger and bigger, but becomes more and more easier to consolidate. Okay. Now, when we talk about Neolithic, for example, India, the concept of family developed in Neolithic period, no. Again, that obsession with family is something which will only come in Vedic. IVC a little bit, but proof of family is something which you don't find like that. Until unless there is a text, you don't find that. Okay. Now we discussed this yesterday itself, sedentary life, polished tool, pottery, complex society. We also discussed this way of a basic thumb rule, which is that once domestication will happen, sedentary life will come. Surplus production will be redistributed, need will come, complex society, rise of early state formation. This is a very important point because early state formation is the genesis of polity. And political structures only emerge when there is surplus and complex society. And therefore, people are in strata, which is called social stratification. Now, in India, we have found multiple sites at which, or we have been very fortunate to find sites which yield Neolithic antecedents. And each of these sites have their own characteristics. For example, the oldest site dated to India for agriculture is a place called Mehergarh, which is in Baluchistan, Pakistan. When I say India, it means Indian subcontinent. Before 1947, Pakistan does not exist. So everything is part of India only. So Mehergarh is one of the oldest sites for India, dates back to 5000 BCE, but we take the more or less date as 4000, and it is the oldest site of the subcontinent. Then we have in UP a place called Kodiva and Mahagara. This gives you evidence of rice. This gives you evidence of barley. First evidence in that sense. Then Chirand, you have multiple crops. But a site which UPSC loves too much and has asked once in the examination, comes quite a lot in optional, which is called Burzahom. Burzahom is in Kashmir. And it has a very interesting, very interesting history because it has two very interesting peculiarities. Burzahom is in Kashmir. And therefore, because of the cold temperatures, they never used to live on the surface. They used to build habitations underground like this. And these underground habitations kept them warm also and could protect them from snow also. And this is a very interesting thing, how adaptation can happen through environmental change. Burzahom is known for what is called as pit dwellings. These are called pit dwellings, that you basically have a basement type structure and you are protecting yourself from the cold by going underground itself. Thereafter, we have also found a very interesting thing, which is double burial, which is a dog buried with a human, which was quite rare in Mesolithic, but becomes very common in Neolithic, and Burzahom yields that to us. So in the examination, you would be expected to know these sites. These are very simple, straightforward sites, 5 of them, because they have their own interesting story. And Burzahom came in 2022 itself. It said Burzahom and something else. It should have been pit dwellings. Wherever it says pit dwellings, pit means a ditch, a pit. Pit dwelling means to live underground. Now, from South India, we find another very interesting peculiarity. Now, if there's a place in which I have a fire, once the fire will be burnt out, what will be left? Every man and woman possess a pet? No. Ash. Very good. Now, if for 5000 years, if I keep on using this same place for fire, and when I start to excavate, what will I find? Same place for 5000 years, one after the other, every place, the same place we have fire for 5000 years. Yes, what we'll find is a whole layer of ash, and that is called an ash mount. Basically, in South India, we have seen very interesting peculiarity. In a site, we find a whole level of only ash, which tells us that they used to use the same spot for thousands of years to burn something. And this is where the concept comes, that if in the examination it says ash mount, the site has to be in South India, because this is a very important speciality of South Indian sites, that when we start to excavate them, in a certain part of that site we will find a whole layer of ash only. So for example, from Karnataka, Maski, Brahmagiri, to remember one of, you have to remember these two. Then from Andhra Pradesh, Nagarjuna Konda, Telangana, Utnur, and Tamil Nadu, Piampali, we find these. We find this. If you put them on a map, you get it like this. Right now, ignore where it says megalithic. We have to teach you that, but later. These are the very important sites which are there. Burza Home, Mehergarh, Chirand, Kodiva, and Mahagara. Then we have Brahmagiri, we have Piampali, and these sites yield a lot of interesting things. Could it be sign of permanent settlement? Yes. But permanent settlement with, see, if I will excavate in Chirand, I will not find ash mounts. For some reason, only from this point down we find ash mounts, which tells us that this is a very interesting specialty of South Indian sites. So, to be very clear, before we move on to Chalcolithic age, Neolithic, we've discussed three things: Neolithic characteristics, sites, and the rule for agriculture, how it always leads to early state formation. Are we clear about these three things? Yes? Just make an acronym, Tina. Might be a place of burning. They don't burn deer, they burn cow dung and all. This is something which we did yesterday itself, and we have consolidated this to the slide also. Neolithic, Mesolithic, Paleolithic. This is how you consolidate. If you can remember these basic points, you have remembered more or less anything to answer a question in the examination. In a prelims related question, these are the only things which will be played with. I can add one more thing. Which is I can write no currency, and no currency. Dead, no, burning dead is not the option, because you will not waste energy, a very important energy, over burning the dead when you have already that. Can you frame a question on this topic? Sure, I can. Sure, why not? But they can, if you want to frame a question, statement 1, statement 2, I'm obviously not giving you options. Statement 1 says the Paleolithic period was the period of domestication of animals. The Neolithic period, we see simple societies. Which of the statements these are correct? One only, two only, or one pair, two pair, whatever. Is the first statement correct? Paleolithic period is the period of domestication of animals. No. And I said Neolithic period is the period of what we call as simple societies. Get your question? See, this is, stop doing this, because it makes no sense. I will show you questions what have come previously. Easy, difficult, I can make it really difficult. Mains questions are not there, so you don't need to worry about descriptive knowledge. If you understand the topic, any question can be done. It's about understanding the topics. Because what students do is they try to ratify a lot of things. They will try to learn everything. It's not about learning, it's about understanding. If you can understand the progression, you will understand every question. And there's no end to it. There's no end to it. This question can be made very difficult also, and can be very, very easy also. So can you make a question? Sure. But do I want to? No. I just want you to understand prehistory, proto-history in a certain way. And once you understand that, it will start to make sense to you. The purpose of ancient India is also to understand art and culture. I'm trying to create a base. Stop being an English utilitarian. That how many questions will come, should I do this topic or not, is it worth it or not? Everything will make sense after we cover it. Can I go to Chalcolithic? Are we clear about first three? Paleolithic, Mesolithic, Neolithic? Okay. And some of you have this also obsession with this Kaun Garega Parokriti type thing, KBC type thing, which is make questions, make questions, make questions. If I start to really give you questions, you'll get demoralized. So don't think that I can't do something. I can. I'm not doing it for a very specific reason. Because first you need to come to pace with it. Once you come to pace with it, you will automatically start to solve questions. Okay. Complex society means society divided into different stratas. Okay. Now, what we saw yesterday, why do they think pets are animals? What is the reason? Yesterday you weren't there, Chandrasekhar. Aditya, I'll do that later. Later. Not there yesterday. Meso, Neo. What is common to all three is tools are made out of stone. Tools are stone. However, we find no metal here. No metal at all. Now, in the gradual progression of history, the period which comes after Neolithic is called Chalcolithic. It's called Chalcolithic. Chalco means copper. Lithic means stone. Copper is the first metal ever used properly after using stone. And within Chalcolithic comes bronze, which is that bronze is an alloy of copper. To add tin and nickel to copper, you get bronze. So the Chalcolithic age in India manifested itself in two ways. A copper specific non-Harappan Chalcolithic culture, and the other one is called the Bronze Age. It's called the Bronze Age. Which is Indus Valley civilization. Now, there's a difference between these two. Chalcolithic age is the bigger age. Indus Valley civilization is also a Chalcolithic civilization only, because they are using an alloy of copper and still are within copper itself. So to be very clear, people tend to think IVC is a different age. It is something within Chalcolithic itself. So in India, we have two manifestations of Chalcolithic. Copper manifests itself in two ways. One are called non-Harappan. Non-Harappan means that we have one major civilization which exhibit a certain type of characteristic. They are outside this. Shruti, check your internet. Now, basically, we will first cover this, then we'll cover this. This is the easiest. This is the longer topic, which is Indus Valley civilization. Indus Valley civilization falls into proto-historic. which I'll tell you why. We'll discuss that. Now, when we talk about non-Harappan Chalcolithic, we mean the cultures which are outside this zone. Everything outside this zone, everything outside this zone is basically non-Harappan Chalcolithic. This is the area of the IVC, which we'll discuss after we discuss this. But the fact of the matter is, there are multiple cultures which are in the heartland of India, but don't exhibit any of the characteristics of IVC, which we'll see what are the characteristics of IVC. So what we see in these sites is that copper is used because of the Khetri mines in Rajasthan. So we find a lot of copper only in Ahar culture, which is this one, which is in Rajasthan. Others have limited use of copper because they are too far away from Khetri mines. Thereafter, limited urbanization, that is one of the features of IVC itself. Stone is being now used, stone is being supplemented by bone. So in a way that they are using animal bones to get a much heavier and much sharper tool itself. Rice based social stratification, all things are the same. It's just that they are not very urban, which is a very important idea about IVC. I will tell you what makes Indus Valley civilization IVC. What is the difference between IVC or civilization and culture? We'll come to that. But that's a discussion we have here in this. Before that, I have to just discuss these basic sites with you, which are called non-Harappan Chalcolithic cultures, which span for a very long time, but are in that same period of 2600, 1500, go up till 700, but very small sites, very localized sites. Here you have to remember these names. For example, Banas, Kayatha, Malwa, Juare. This is the most insignificant part of Chalcolithic in that sense. These cultures existed other than the IVC, the Indus Valley civilization, and they have their own smaller sites. For example, Banas culture, most important site is Ahar. Then in Kayatha, it is named after Kayatha only. Then Malwa, you have Navda Toli, Iran, and Nagda. These are three sites which are quite important. And then Juare, Inamgaon, Sonaegaon, and Chandoli. All three together called Juare. Why are they called Juare? Because they all cover, these three sites have a similar culture in that sense. I'm coming to the fact that what do you mean by culture? But a simple point is these are Chalcolithic sites where we found copper, and bone, but they all have their own localized understanding of how they want to move forward. So when we talk about Chalcolithic, we really don't care about this much too much because questions don't come from here. As it is, you just need to know that there are four cultures other than the IVC which do not exhibit any form of urbanization or any form of modernization. And the real Chalcolithic culture in India is this one, which is Indus Valley civilization. If we are clear about non-Harappan, I can talk about IVC. That is the most important discussion we have today. Simple, straightforward, four cultures other than IVC. Non-Harappan, contemporary. They are contemporary to the Indus Valley civilization, but are somehow different also. They exist together. Are we clear? Why do we call it non-Harappan? Because they are not Harappan. Non-IVC, non-Indus Valley civilization. Yes? Okay. IVC is part of Chalcolithic. Yes. Chalcolithic is the bigger word. Chalcolithic age is the bigger word. IVC is a part of it. People tend to say Bronze Age is a different age. Bronze means copper only. Okay. Why is Harappa Indus? That I will tell you. Don't ask me about Indus Valley right now. Tell me, do you understand how are they different from or where are they placed? Are we clear about that? Usually UPSC asks which type of question? Moderate, difficult? That is on UPSC. Nobody can predict that. Only four are there, yes. All are they are Chalcolithic, but they are independent civilizations. The most important one is this one. As I told you, all four, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all five exist together. But they do not exist. This whole area has one culture. They have four different cultures. They're separate to IVC. They're separate to Indus Valley civilization. They do not exhibit the pottery, the culture, the craft specialization, the society, the economy, or anything related to IVC. That is why they're different. They're different to each other because then there is further smaller differences. Ahar has too much copper. Kayatha has, for example, pottery which comes in a certain pattern. Then Juare is very less use of copper, but a lot of use of bone, which I will discuss with you. Social stratification means division in society. No, bronze is something which Harappa uses. Harappa uses copper also, but bronze is also available. Bronze is not found here. In none of them, there is no bronze. That is why they're pure chalcolithic sites. Are we clear? Because we move to this. It's a transitionary period, that's it. They exist, but they don't exist for us as a candidate because they really don't matter to us. Chalcolithic is a bigger term, copper and bronze. Yes, bronze is a smaller term under chalcolithic. I want everybody's yes. Still, people are joining in 40 minutes into the class. I can't help it. Okay. Yes? Okay. When I'll give you the timeline, I'll add it. Don't worry. No, it is not out of India, Harappa. There's no India and Pakistan. There's only Indian subcontinent at this point of time. Okay. Now you see, I've been using two terms: culture, civilization. Now, the difference between culture and civilization is on size. Is based on size. Cultures are small. Civilizations are big. Sure, you can do that, Vaibhav. Now, what is culture? Culture means the tradition, ideas, concepts, and patterns created by humans. Now, one set of people can have one culture. If they keep on expanding, they become civilization. Civilization is basically a much bigger term, and it can what is there in civilization is standardization and uniformity across the civilization. Think of it like that. India is like a civilization right now. Government of India exists in Jammu and Kashmir also. It will exist in Kanyakumari also. It's not a group of cultures in civilization. One culture becoming big is a civilization. Group of cultures will not be one civilization. That's something called ethnicity. That's a separate issue altogether. Right now, we are moving in a progressive fashion. We started at Paleolithic, we moved to Mesolithic, then to Neolithic, and now we are at Indus Valley civilization. We started with small sites, single sites. Those single sites started to become cultures, and from cultures they become civilizations. Civilization is basically like a continental scale. For example, how Indus Valley civilization is throughout the whole area. Indus Valley civilization, this whole sector from this to Surkotada, anywhere you are, every site will have the same feature. Every site will have the same ideas, same pottery, same measurement, same brick size, everything. So in India, many cultures, you can say India is again, actually, please. I really beg you right now. You don't understand the difference between culture and ethnicity. So don't come to conclusions. India is an ethnically diverse culture. We have a very high level of ethnicity, racial ethnicity culture. Culture is a smaller word of ethnicity. So ethnicity wise, India is very diverse. But again, you don't know what I'm saying right now. Basically, it's like physics to you. So if you don't know, don't come to conclusions. The Indian civilization is ethnically diverse, not culturally diverse. So there's a difference between these two words. So I really want you to stay where you are. I know you all, a lot of you are very smart, but the problem is maybe not in history. So pay attention to what I'm saying. Pay attention to what I'm saying, because there is a way it progresses. So very simply, a small, if 100 people follow something, it's a culture. If 1 lakh people follow it, it is a civilization. That is the only difference. That is it. 100 people follow something. We all have one culture right now. We are in itself a culture. But if everybody in India starts to follow what we are following, it becomes a civilization. It's a difference of scale. That's it. A culture becomes a civilization. It can start with 10 people, it can become then 100 people, then it can become 10,000, it can then become 1 lakh, it can become 10 million. They are progressively becoming bigger, from a culture to a civilization. That is the only thing I'm trying to argue here. That's only the thing. The fact of the matter is, this 10 and this 1 million all will have the same cultural values, which is called basically being a civilization. Can I move forward when I talk about culture and civilization? Okay. Now, UPSC has a tendency to ask out of this area at least one question either in prelims, or a question related to its architecture and its culture in mains, which is art and culture question. So that ways, this area is a very favorite topic of UPSC, because it is one of the most magnificent civilizations in the world at this point of time. Now, when we talk about IVC, Indus Valley Civilization core area, the period is called 2600 to 1500 BCE. Maximum we take it till 1700. This is called the mature phase. And we have two phases in and around it. One is called early phase, 3200 to 2600, early. And then we also have a late phase, which is, for example, 1700 to 1500 till 1200. We find it. This is called declining phase or late phase. Now, the question is that why is it called Harappa or Harappan? And why is it called Indus Valley Civilization? And how do we get to know about it? Now, basically, we knew about IVC nothing at all till 1826. Till 1826, nobody in India other than the IVC people themselves knew about themselves. Nobody in India till 1826 knew about the Indus Valley Civilization, because the sites went underground and nobody actually found them generally. In 1826, when the British were exploring the Punjab sector, they were laying down a railway track. And the person called Charles Mason, he's a British engineer. He had been given the task to survey this area in Punjab. Now, when in 1826 Charles Mason was surveying this sector, he came across a small mount under which he found a lot of artifacts. And the site he had actually reached is called Harappa. So he had basically discovered, it's called chance discovery. It's a chance discovery. by chance Harappa was discovered in 1826. Now Charles Mason will report it back to the East India Company that I have found a Harappan site in this what we call as Punjab Sindh sector, or this site which is called Harappa by the locals. So what the British is going to do, they will establish a body which is called ASI, which is Archaeological Survey of India. Archaeological Survey of India will be established under the first DG, Director General. His name was Alexander Cunningham. And Alexander Cunningham will come to Harappa and then use the word Harappan civilization. Harappan civilization. Because he will then find 50 to 60 kilometers in the radius of Harappa more important sites. For example, he'll find Mohenjo-daro. He'll find Ganeriwala. He'll find a place called Chanudaro. He'll find a place called, for example, Kalibangan, named by the locals as it is. Harappan civilization is now going to be discovered starting from a small site, starting from a very small site of Harappa. It will keep on expanding. Now, the world was told about Harappan civilization in 1924 by the second DG of Director General of the Archaeological Survey of India. His name was not John Marshall. His name was John Marshall. John Marshall was the one who published it in a newspaper in London that we have found in India a civilization which is basically based along the Indus River. And that is why it is called the Indus Valley civilization. The sites follow the Indus River, and therefore they are called the Indus Valley civilization. They're called the Indus Valley civilization. So John Marshall was the first one to use the word Indus Valley civilization. Now Harappa is here. But if you see the Harappan civilization or Indus Valley civilization expands or is in a very big area between modern day Afghanistan and modern day Haryana. Now, Mohenjo-daro, your favorite site, is here. Thereafter, Alandiju, Sutka Gendor. Thereafter, Surkotada. Then Dholavira. Thereafter, we have Lothal here. Now, if we go by the north, south, east, west extent, the northernmost site of the civilization is Manda. In some books, and again I'm telling you because some books will write Shotugai, but Shotugai was just a what you call raw material site. It had nothing really. This is from Upinder Singh. We follow this. Then Sutka Gendor is the one which is the westernmost site. Alamgirpur is the easternmost site. And again, you will find here multiple names, but in Maharashtra, we have a place called Daimabad, which is considered the southernmost site. But if you look at the expanse, you find a peculiarity. And the peculiarity or specialty is, if you look at it, the Indus Valley sites don't go beyond this point. They don't go into the Ganga, Yamuna, Doab, the UP sector itself. Can anybody tell me why is that the case? That they just remain within this sector. Okay, there are dense forests here. Okay, but what is the issue? There are multiple dense forests here, very swampy area. What is the issue? It's not water availability. The issue is that this civilization did not know iron. With no iron, they have copper axes. And if you try to use a copper axe on very hard wood, it would basically break the axe itself. Because copper is very good in making wires. It's very ductile. It's malleable also. It's not very hard. So if you don't have iron, you can't cut trees too much. So the reason why the expanse of the Indus Valley civilization more or less stops here, even in the early period, is because of the reason of not having iron, which in turn tells us that they did not know iron. Because if they knew iron, they have gone further into the Indus Valley, into the rather Ganga Yamuna Valley itself. They are not able to go that way. So what I've established to you is only one thing. Charles Mason is the one who basically found Harappa by chance. February of 1871, ASI will be formed and Alexander Cunningham will start do excavations. And there by 1924, John Marshall is going to publish in the London Weekly that they have found a civilization called the Indus Valley Civilization. I have given you the basic dates. This can be substituted with 1700 also. That is a date which generally is used. And I have also told you where the sites are. Now comes the $1,000,000 question. Are we all clear till this point? How do we find it? Why is it called Indus Valley? Why is it called Harappan? Harappan because the first site was Harappan, and Indus Valley because they follow the Indus River itself. Okay. Now comes the $1,000,000 question, that do you need to learn the sites? And the answer to that question, southernmost is Dehmabad. The answer to that question is, see, before independence, most of the sites, there were close to 460 sites of the Harappan civilization, mostly in this area, the modern day Pakistan area. As soon as the partition happened, all IBC sites went into Pakistan. So the ASI got a lot of funds after 1947 to find sites in India, and we found 640 to 650 sites in India. So the point is that there are close to 1,000 sites of the IVC throughout India and Pakistan. So there is nobody who should have the time or the patience to learn all 1,000. But major sites everybody should know. Now I have given you two types of maps. One is the NCRT map. One I have given you the Upinder Singh map. This is more comprehensive, and these are also having the peculiarities which we are looking for. So for example, Manda, Sutka-Gendor, a problem is they not added Alamgirpur here or Dehmabad here. So we have to refer to this one. Alamgirpur, Manda, Sutka-Gendor. Thereafter, after Malwan, we get somewhere here Dehmabad. But other than this also, you should know certain sites other than these. These are north, south, east, west. You should know Dholavira. You should know Kalibangan. You should know Rakhigadi, Ropad, Harappa, Mohenjo-daro, the site of Desalpur, Surkotada, Then you need to know Lothal. Then you need to know Nevasa or Nageshwar, sorry, Nageshwar, Padri, and if you want Amri, early site, Chanudaro, last one. If you are really interested, sure. Sanoli is a site which is getting excavated right now. I will not take Z5 or Discovery as the academic historian which will tell me what that site is. Once Sanoli comes in, the NCRT and academic newspapers and academic books will talk about Saloni. As it is, we will not worry about Sonali too much, because Sonali, there's a lot of conspiracy theory. All that does not matter to me until unless the NCRT says that there's a conspiracy. Till there isn't a conspiracy with regards to that, I really don't care. So don't quote me Sonali. Second is Mohenjo-daro movie based on these sites. Don't watch that movie. It's a total crap, made up movie itself. So Mohenjo-daro movie is not even Mohenjo-daro itself. So never, please don't do that. Please don't do that. Banavali, if you want to. Yes, why not? Banavali. I will tell you which movie to watch. Please don't watch. Epic channel and also, please. Enough controversy in our life to actually go to this web series and watch controversy. So I'm not expecting you to watch these movies. Please don't base your knowledge of them. Okay. I've marked the important ones. It is totally on you. Okay. Now a standard question. How different learn how you are difficult. Puja, write properly. How difficult to learn all of this? I am just asking you to go through it once. Will be in your mind. I have one slide in which every important site is there. Don't worry about that. Learn one each day or two each day, totally your capacity. Okay. Now you just need to learn the names. Kotadisi is also there. Sure, why not? Now UPSC has an obsession with IVC. Now the question is why? Why is there an obsession, and why is Indus Valley civilization so famous? And why is it so important? Now that is linked to its characteristics. Characteristics of Indus Valley civilization sites. Now, it is not the first known civilization. You would like to have that tag called first, but Mesopotamia is the first known civilization. Okay. Now the first feature is called town planning of sites, and under it we have the first interesting thing, which is called citadel and lower town, or upper town and lower town. Now what does this actually mean? What this means is that if I go to any Harappan site, I will find a area in that site to be raised. This is 3D rendering. In 2D, it will look like this. Wherein sideways profile, there's a certain area in that site which is always on the higher side. It's on a platform. Now this is called citadel, and there would be a part of the city which is called lower town. So I would have buildings here, and I will also have buildings here. Now that ways I have created a distinction. This is upper town. This is lower town. Now this is citadel complex, and the idea here is very interesting. The idea here is quite interesting. The idea is that the purpose of the upper town is public buildings are here, which is buildings or structures used by everyone, and lower town is basically residential area. Basically they have divided into a private and a public area, meaning that if you want to go to, for example, imagine that in your town the post office, the hospital, the school, the college, and the government all are on a small platform which can be seen from your house, and you have a house which is on the lower part of the town. Basically private spaces were separated from public spaces. It's exactly like how today New Delhi has been established. New Delhi, we believe that Baker and Lutyens, the two architects, took ideas from here only, wherein Rashtrapati Bhavan Parliament building, that whole area is on the Raisina Hill, and in and around that lower you have the MP quarters. Same way, there's no class division, there's no society, there's no Varna division and all. Don't come. I've seen a lot of you scientists have already written this. Elite, and you are using words which have been told to you in the school, but please don't use these words. This concept of elites being it, we have no idea about that. Indus Valley civilization, when it comes to finer details, we have no ideas, because it could be, it's not that only pakka on doubt, kacha pakka, not like that. Upper town has buildings which are of public use, such as granaries, great bath, it's called college of priests, we have assembly hall, and on this lower town we have houses. This is called segregation of space. Is it indicative of segregation of power? Sure. Society, we need more detail. I cannot come to the conclusion that only elites had access to upper town. So that is a very standard thing given to you in the NCERT, but that's not the way it is. First important feature of the Indus Valley civilization is segregation of space according to public and private. And it is just a way of creating a very interesting network of what we call as network of accessibility. because everybody needs these institutions. So they are on the top. On the other hand, when it comes to private sector, you are in the lower areas. This is a very interesting way of planning, because what buildings are needed by everybody is in the middle, sometimes on the side. And we have seen this. If you look at the map of, for example, this is the map of the Mohenjo-daro sector itself. We have one area which is connected via road, but this is a citadel. You have Great Bath, Granary, College of Priests, big institutions here. Then you have an area which is lower. This is on the lower part. And here we have all the residential, what we call as areas. There used to be a road which used to go and get connected with the citadel. And there could be, in certain ways, fortifications around the settlement, along the whole settlement, or only the citadel also. It's just that administrative purpose buildings are kept on a higher side. It could also be because of, for example, certain ideas that granaries which have wheat and which have rice need to be kept away from flooding also. So they're at a higher level itself. But all of these things add up together to create public-private division. Granaries means where you keep grains. Are we clear about the first 1A? Upper town, lower town. Yes? Okay. Now, 1B is something which we can't even do today, which is called grid pattern and roads at 90-degree angle with drainage and sewage lines attached. In this, the exception is a place called Banavali. Banavali does not have grid pattern. It has what is called as radial pattern. To be very clear, when lines cut at 90-degree, it's called grid pattern. 90-degree. Radial means concentric circles. This is radial. This is grid pattern. Radial means circles, concentric circles. And the only site where we see this exception is called Banavali. Every other site has grid pattern. Banavali is an exception which has radial pattern, goes around. Now, why do I say that this is a very interesting feature? Because in India, till today, in not even India, in multiple countries, when it comes to making roads, we have very interesting ways of making roads. We first make the road, that somebody realized that the sewage line is not there. So they'll dug up the same road and put the sewage line. Once the sewage line will be done, they will realize, oh, water line is not there. Same road again dug up, put the water line. Once water line will put, telephone department will, oh, we didn't add the telephone lines. Let's add the telephone lines. Then they will put everything. Then electricity one will get up. Oh, we didn't put the electricity. So they'll put electricity lines. By the time electricity, some random Airtel will come and say, we want to put fiber lines. So they'll put fiber lines itself. And by the time the road is properly done, till that point that road is in disuse, they will make another road and do the same thing. So in India, we have such level of planning that interdepartmental planning is not there. So sewage, drainage, telephone, that everybody keeps on making the same road multiple times. That is something which we've seen and you have seen and you would be seeing for sure in and around you. Every day, everywhere, same story. Properly made road will be dug up and destroyed, and then again dug up and destroyed. Dug up, destroyed. Election time is coming. New roads will come up, then again dug up and destroyed. But when it came to the Harappans, they were actually 4,000 years ago, much better than us. Much better than us, because when it came to roads, be it the Citadel complex, or the roads are in a grid pattern, wherein they either go north south, or they go east west. And what is even more interesting is that when the road was constructed, the sewage line and the water line were added together with it. Meaning that if I look at this road in a little bit of zoomed fashion, I will find a road on one side. This is the road. On one side, I will find the drains, and on the other side, I will find, rather, let's keep this color for water. Fresh water supply and sewage and drainage. Meaning they never allowed grey water, never mixed with fresh water, which is used water is never mixed with fresh water. How they have identified it is drainage sewage line? Because the deposit on the down in the bed of the sewage and fresh water will be different. More microbial deposits under the sewage one, fresh water will be less. Don't worry, archaeologists are smart enough to do that. The fact of the matter is, today we drink the water, we put it into the drain goes to the river, and that river then gives you supply to water. So what we do today is take the grey water, put it into fresh water, and then use the fresh water after treatment. So the level of sophistication which the Harappans are showing is at a next level altogether. That they have drainage and they have sewage, or rather fresh water, on both sides of the road itself. And this is not just for one road. Every road has a drainage and a sewage line, which is at the next level altogether. This is true for Citadel and Lower Town. Everywhere we see the same patterning itself. And this is not just for one site, it is for every site of Harappa. And this is called urbanization or modern civilization. There are parts of Delhi and part of cities which today till do not have sewage lines. They used to make sure that the roads did have water and sewage both. Every house had water and sewage both. And except for Banavali, we see 90-degree drainage and sewage water attached. Is 1B clear? With no modern geometry, with no excavation tools, with no satellite imagery, with no form of modern technology, they are doing this 4,000 years ago. They're not cemented. There's something called mud bricks. I will tell you that. Don't worry. Now, grid pattern 90-degree drainage sewage lines. Grey water and fresh water is not mixed. Sewage drainage and exception Banavali, which is the radial pattern. Okay. Sir, they have wells in their houses. So why they need fresh water? Not every house has a well. Freshwater sewage connection is needed for every household. If one side of the road has drain, they had a way to do it, which is that they also had smaller pipe like things. So I understand your concern that if my side is drain, other side is sewage. These are things which happen today, but they used to plan it in such a way that houses were in L. So one side the drainage used to go, from one side the water used to go. So don't worry about that. Okay. Now, when we come to the next one, which is 1C, we now see another set of things. Does every household in India, all across India, have a toilet? Every household. Are we totally ODF free? Open defecation free? No. India till today reels under the issue of open defecation, which is ODF. Now, ironically, households in Harappan civilization had toilets attached to them. Every household has toilet access. Houses are one story or even two story. Story means two levels. They are based on central courtyard. Do you know the word angan? What does angan mean? Central courtyard, open space in middle of house. That angan concept comes from here, based on central courtyard. Doors and windows do not open towards main street. Now, this is the beauty of town planning. If you look at a household, if you look at the household of the Harappan civilization, if there's a main street going from here, If this is the main street, they will never have their gate towards the main road. They will always have their gate here. This is the side streets, side lanes. They will never ever have any windows towards the main streets. This is for privacy. Today, on main roads itself, people have their home gates open straight into the main road. Thereafter, it could be one story and could be two stories also. Could be one, could be two stories. That is totally their call, how they want to make it. And a very interesting thing is that if I look at the plan of this house from the top, if I look at from the top, there will be open space in the middle. How old houses were made. This is called angan. Story means floor. Yes. This is called angan, which is that you will have open space in the middle. Then you will have rooms around it. So if I look at the house plan itself, it will always open to the side street and it will have a open space in the middle. It will have an open space in the middle, which is quite sophisticated that ways. Quite sophisticated that ways. And further, the households had either toilets attached to them or there were 2 to 3 households having one toilet. They could have a well, they could have water systems. That's totally their call. Totally their call. So we basically can see a certain sophistication which we lack today. We lack today. Think of 2023. Today, I cannot say this for every household in India today. That is the irony of the story, that we believe that with times, things become more sophisticated. But somehow the Harappans defy that logic itself. Because if I go further, water harvesting systems with good water management was also included in every household, wherein they did not even waste water. This is a new level of sophistication itself. So what I've done with you till this point is, town planning has multiple sub-points under it. Citadel Lower Town, grid pattern, drainage, sewage, household, doors, and the basic points related to it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Water harvesting and water management. Are we clear about this? If we are, then I move to the last two. Yes? What type of person lived in Citadel? I mean, concept of rich. Who told you that there are no residential houses in Citadel? See, problem is that we have no idea about polity. We have no idea about power. So who and how, I cannot answer. If you will say a monkey lived there, I will say yes. Until and unless the script of Harappa is not deciphered, nothing can be made sense of. Citadel could be in central, could be in eastern, could be in western, could be in southern, does not matter. It seems they built everything together as public property and then distributed. Again, Rutuja, this is an assumption by you. There's no concept. Public and private property concept is again something which evades us. We have villages, open space in front and back, houses located in between. That's called a patio house. That's a very European thing. On what grounds we find College of Priests? Again, that's also an assumption. It's called College of Priests because the British said it is. They have pipe structures. Why not? They have what we call a small terracotta clay pipes are there. Is there polity? I will discuss with you. I'm not answering that right now. They are so sophisticated and why this is not taken forward by other later civilizations. Good question. Decline we'll talk about. How does this model of sewage and freshwater discharge supply worked in radial model? Can work in radial model. The road is made concentrically, so they will link the radials. They link it like this. Okay. All are British made assumptions, not Indian historians. You want to say that? Sure. The categorization is British. They were the first to find it. Okay. They were intelligent, no doubt, but still the population was very low. But now the population is high. So you are trying to justify inability of the government to do something today because population is high. So we have modern technology also, we have modern ideas also, we have a lot of money also. Harappans, they don't have cranes, excavators, people. They didn't take taxes from people. So then let it go. Let it go. If there is a will, there's a way. Kuraku, first thing first. Stop doing that. You don't tell me how much time I put in a topic. If I start to really go fast, if I get a question from you saying, sir, slow down, then I will never slow down. So I'm telling you, this is not a democracy. I'm not asking for your opinion. This is not a democracy in any way or form. You don't control anything, literally. So when I need to take up speed, if I I will look for your message. Wherever you will say, sir, please go slow, I'll go even faster. So don't presume sometimes some things matter. Why am I putting this so much time? Because exactly same things go into art and culture. When it comes to salient features of architecture of Indus Valley civilization, exactly same points will go. Exactly. So don't worry about that. So the point is not about speed. It's about where the emphasis is needed. I will presume that you know it in IVC art and culture after 14 classes. So don't worry. So stop typing. Third message you've sent it. You ignored twice. Becomes annoying after a point. Okay. Then when ization. This is a very important feature for civilizations because what we find is I'm not saying, and Anushika, I'm not telling you anything. Why are you taking it on yourself? I'm not saying anything to you. Sir, you are telling this to me, but sir, I didn't say anything. I know you didn't say anything. Okay. Don't take everything on yourself. Very important feature for civilization, standardization. Is that if you look at the city wall bricks, and when you look at house wall bricks, they are in the same ratio. Word are not visible. Now clear? City walls. What is the ratio then? What is the ratio? Very good. 1:2:4. 6:4:2. 80,000 centimeters. Very good. Perfect. Burnt bricks and sun-dried bricks both are used. Meaning they could be put into a kiln or what we call as bhatti and then made hard. And thereafter there could also be sun-dried, which is that they kept outside. Today, what is the color of brick you see today? What is the color of brick which you see today? Red. Red color bricks are basically bhatti ones, kiln ones, which is burnt bricks. But if you ever make it, and in rural areas you would have seen, there would be also yellowish, brownish bricks. Those yellowish bricks which you see, light orange, very yellowish, brownish bricks, they are called sun-dried bricks. They were taken and kept into the sun to basically become hard. We find both of them, but the idea here is very important. The idea is very important that when I go to Harappan site, if I pick up any brick from any place to any site, from Sutka Gandor to Alamgirpur, from Manda to Dehmabad, exactly same pattern is used. Exactly same ratio is used. And this is what makes it a civilization. Because civilizations have high level of standardization. A 100 rupee note will be the same in Jammu and Kashmir also, in Kanyakumari also, in Arunachal Pradesh also, and in Gujarat also. That is called standardization. 1 kg would mean the same thing everywhere in India. Same way, the level of standardization is indicative of very sophisticated nature of the civilization. Wherein, in the period where there is no electronic medium, where there's no email, where there's no way you can communicate quickly, from any site you see here, from north to south to west to east, exactly same brick size is there. Which in itself shows us a very interesting point. That this means that this civilization was extremely advanced, and that is why it's called an urban civilization. It's an urban civilization, and that is why in Indian history, Indus Valley civilization is called first urbanization. It's called first urbanization. Because for the first time, India saw multiple urbanized ideas. So when we talk about, let's consolidate through the PPT, when we talk about the features of the Indus Valley civilization, citadel, lower town, grid pattern, well-lit streets, well-planned drainage system. Along with that, we have sewage pipes and chutes. Chutes means pipe only, which collect rainwater also. Elaborate arrangement for water for drinking and bathing. Uniformity across the civilization with brick size itself. People living in houses of different sizes containing the central courtyard itself. And doorways and windows never faced towards the main street. The fact of the matter remains is that we have covered citadel, lower town, first main important feature, division of space according to purpose, grid pattern, 90-degree sewage line, drainage line. Thereafter, you also seen households exhibiting a very interesting feature with water harvesting to toilets to double story to not opening up towards the main street, to the idea that there is standardization and uniformity across the whole civilization. Example being a very small thing, but a very big thing, which is standardization. They did not know they were cutting it at 10:20:40, but that mold was such which was shared with everybody, that everybody had the same exact measurement for sure. Modern technology does not guarantee to you advancement. This is the advancement of the civilization itself. Metal is still copper, and that's it. Copper, bronze, which will come to. We're going towards craft specialization. Now, before I go towards economy, I have this is the bricks. This is a street. Don't look at it like this. This part used to be covered fully. On one side water, on one side sewage, and this is the level, the way they used to make streets, and the households had side lanes in that sense. These are wells which were attached to houses if needed. Now, before I give you a break here and we move on to the other aspects which are much more open, this is a very important site for you. Very, very, very important site. Wherein, can you explain 1 is to 2 is to 4? 10 is to 20 is to 40 and 7 is to 14 is to 28. If you will divide it with the same number, divided by 10. 1, 2, 4. Divided by 7. 1, 2, 4. Amit, now you get it? A ratio. This is mathematics CSET. Okay. They didn't use cement. They used to use what we call as the clay, which is take sand in south, in lot of rural India still is used. Take sand and push it together, and it will become something. It acts like clay. In a lot of rural India, we don't have cement. They take bricks and put sand, and then automatically what we call as clay and ash together, and it becomes like a cement itself. Okay. VVV means very, 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 very important slide. This is because this has been collated from different sources. And in the examination, you can get this type of question wherein they ask you what is the most important feature of each and every site, or where have we found these things. These are sites which you cannot forget. First is Mohenjo-daro. Mohenjo-daro is the most celebrated of all sites. I will show you these structures in art and culture, which is great bath, granary, assembly hall, and these things. Not again, no pains question can come from this area. Get to know it. Prelims question. The great bath, granary, assembly hall, and college of priests, as identified by British archaeologists, are all in Mohenjo-daro. Great bath is basically a very big swimming pool where everybody used to take ritualized bathing, which we till today do in Kumbh Mela and all, which is called ritualized bathing, that you bathe together as a form of a ritual. Then Chanudaro is known for very interesting thing, which is seal making. Seal, shell. Seal, I'll show you. Seal is this. These are called seals. I'll show you what they are. They're not currency, but we'll have a discussion with regards to that. They're basically stamps. Seal and shell making. And we have also found certain amount of weights which used to basically act like, or stones which used to act like weights. That is where they were using their own idea of weight itself. Harappa has given us granaries, and then comes the age-old question, which has now been answered and there is no controversy. Was horse known to? How 1:2 4 apply practical in image? Amit, again, I'm giving you an example. This would be 7:4:4, 28. That's it. And then every brick is 7:4:28, 7:20, then 1:2:4. Now, horse, and there's no doubt about this, horse was known to the Harappan people. Did they use it? What did they do with the horse? Nobody knows. The simple point is, horse bones have been found at Surkotada. So in the examination, wherever it says horse was not known to the Harappans, that is an incorrect statement. Horse was known to the Harappans. Horse was used by the Harappans, sure. We don't know what use. We have no idea about that. Were they used in chariot? This, that, we don't know. We just presume that horse was known. That is the only thing we know about the Harappans with regards to that. Then, Kalibangan is a place where fire used to be worshipped quite a lot. And that is why we found what is called as fire altar. Fire altar means Havan Kund. Havan Kunds have been found, which is basically fire altars. And a very interesting thing was lower and upper town both were fortified, separately fortified. So they had forts or walls around them. Lothal has dockyard, which is a port. This is the oldest port of India till today. Port. Dockyard means port. And Dholavira, which recently got the UNESCO World Heritage tag, the only IVC site to get it. It is known for its water management, water harvesting, and its way of using water, which I will again show you. This aspect I will show you in art and culture. So I'm not keeping that in consideration. Large, and we found at Banavali as much as radial pattern. We've also found something called gold and jewelers house, which is they were using lot of precious metal, precious stones, and gold together to make jewelry, which is one of the craft which the Harappans used to do, and therein lies our discussion with regards to economy. So what I've done till this point is only two things. I've discussed with you the idea of the IVC, how was it found, what are the characteristics, where is the north, south, east, west, and why is it called first urbanization. If these 5 points are clear, then we take a break here. We come back and discuss smaller but interesting topics: economy, society, religion, polity, decline. Horse is used in Harappa, found in Chitkot. Horse was used in Harappa. It would be there in Harappa also. Surkotada has yielded it. It will be true for every site. Lapis lazuli is a precious metal, a precious stone. Urbanization means urban settlement. So urbanization is reflected in town planning, is reflected in the ideas of grid pattern, drainage, sewage, water management, houses. Basanti, I have not seen your message. I have to write it again. Then why that culture was not developed and transferred to all over the world, sir? We're coming to that. There were contemporary civilizations to IVC, which is Mesopotamia, Dilmun, and Egypt. Don't worry about that. IVC used horse, correct or not? Yes, it used horse. They only knew about it. Rajan, there is no answer to that question. If it says IVC used horse and knew about it, yes. End of story. Has it been found in all 1,000 sites? More or less. More or less. There can be a generalization with regards to that. Assembly Hall College of Priests only at Harappa, only at Mohenjo-daro. Yes. IVC livelihood activity economy. I'm going to discuss with you when I'm back. Clear? The problem is that IVC is not the civilization on which we are based on. We are based on Vedic civilization. That is an Aryan concept which I have to discuss with you tomorrow. Granary means where you keep grains. What is the relationship between Harappa and IVC? Harappa is a site of the Indus Valley civilization. Fire altar means Havan Kund. BP means before present. That is a word used for sometimes BCE. So don't worry about that. BP means before present, which is 1950 seen as present and then before present. IVC completely vanished. I will discuss that with you. I'm telling you how long the break is. These are specific structures for specific locations, applicable every location. The characteristics which I've told you is applicable to all sites. These are called general characteristics. Specific characteristics I've given you on this slide. This one. What if question asks assembly hall found in Indus Valley civilization? Assembly hall found in Mohenjo-daro, sure. If it says assembly halls are found in Indus Valley civilization, yes. One site gives us a generalization for everyone. Seals weights were not present many sites. As I told you, one site, if it yields something, we presume it is there in every site. What is the language spoken? I have to discuss that with you. We don't know. Can I take a break here? Anupali, you joined later, then you ask for no break. Makes no sense. I leave you here. We come back, and we take the story forward. Usage of College of Priests. College of Priests. Somebody used to study there. Name itself says College of Priest. Okay. We come back at 7, but I'm not going to give 15 minutes every time. We come back at 7, we take the story forward. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Okay. Where are you? Class turned on, started. Mayank, you always ask the same question. After this break, I will come back. Don't worry. He says that is there a session after the break or not? Yes, yes. Don't worry about that. Okay. So we have discussed Indus Valley civilization. That was the biggest chunk which was characteristics, and I would like you to hold on to the characteristics for next 20 days because this will help you later, because in art and culture characteristics become characteristics of art and architecture also. So it's a very important point. We also discussed the discovery and geographical extent. We've discussed these three things. Now we go into other things which make Indus Valley civilization Indus Valley civilization. Now, Indus Valley civilization is not called urbanized only because it has these characteristics. Indus Valley civilization, for the first time in history, develops internal and external trade, which is quite significant, wherein internal raw material and production centers were connected, and externally Harappan or IVC artifacts have been found in Central Asia. And this is a very important point. But one point you need to remember is there is no currency still. No currency, no money. It is based on barter, which is exchange of goods for goods. For goods. So very simply, what is the role of Rakaldas Dayanam Sani? These are the individual excavators and archaeologists on each and every site. That you don't need to know, that is optional level. You just need to know about Charles Mason. Each and every site, the excavator and the archaeologist, you don't need to know. Now, this is in itself a very interesting thing, which is that the Harappans were producing multiple things. We have pottery, we have bangles, we have beads, we have jewelry, we have seals, and this is basically called craft specialization. This is called crafts specialization, which is there is a lot of different types of crafts and artifacts which are produced, and in order to do something like this you need a trade network which is quite unique to the Indus Valley civilization. Internally, from the Shotugai sector to Sudka Gendor to Gyaneshwar to the Alamgirpur sector to Megong, which is near Demabad, there's a lot of flow of goods and services. So very simply, goods are, for example, you see, you have great specialization, but copper used to come from Rajasthan. Coming from Rajasthan, it is to radiate outwards towards every site itself. Lead and zinc used to again come from Rajasthan. Again, what was happening was that these centers were connected to each other and to connected to other sites itself. And this is the beauty of an internal trade network. Today, for example, coal goes from the Jharkhand sector towards the Orissa sector. From Orissa, it will go to Karnataka. Then Karnataka, it will go to the port. So the fact is, from Haryana, they're getting tin. From Rajasthan, they're getting lead and zinc. Copper is coming from the Rajasthan sector. Thereafter, lapis lazuli, which is a precious stone, comes from Afghanistan. Semi-precious stones are coming from Gujarat, and they're spreading around. It's not that we find it in one zone. Every zone of the Harappan civilization has the same type of crafts, and therefore, the fact of the matter is that there is a lot of internal dissemination of information which leads to standardization and uniformity, then in turn leads to, for example, the same ratio of bricks. In the same way, everything is flowing throughout the Harappan civilization. And we know about what was the means of transportation through small toys. We found two-wheel carts. So they had basically what is called as a bullock cart, which was drawn by a bull, and bull or donkey or even horse, we don't know that. But the basic point is we have multiple terracotta figurines showing us that. What does terracotta mean? When you take clay, make it wet, then mold it into something and keep it into the what we call as in the kiln or in the sun, you get terracotta. Sun dried or kiln dried clay is called terracotta. So they are basically made out of clay, which is called terracotta. And we see that bronze and terracotta figurines throughout the civilization we found. So merchandise was going around. We have pack animals drawing all of this throughout the Indian sector itself. And this is terracotta. This is terracotta. This is terracotta. Khetri is a mine in Rajasthan. The fact of the matter is, when it even comes to pottery, multiple types of pottery are associated. And from decorative patterns, we have geometrical patterns, we have fish, we have leaves, we have people leaves. But one thing is very interesting. Never on Harappan pottery you will find human figures. Never you will find something like this on that. No. It will always be patterning with regards to different type of geometries or flora and fauna. So what I am trying to establish to you is that there is craft diversity and there is material flowing through the Harappan sites. Can we establish this much? You do not have to learn each and every small thing. Everything I tell you is not important. You have to understand it to realize why is it called an urban civilization. The points which I'm telling you are demonstrating to you the point I made, which is internal trade. You just have to understand internal trade, internal movement of material. Are we clear about it? Because then I go to external trade. Are we clear about this? If you're saying no, need to tell me why. Craft specialization, craft diversity means different type of crafts are being produced and material is flowing through the Harappan sites. Can I move forward? Okay. Now, what made Harappa is not just internal trade, but a trade with other contemporary civilizations also, wherein from Harappa things used to flow towards the south. Then from Shotugai they used to go to Iran-Iraq sector, and to the most important and the most advanced civilization in the world, second to none to Harappa itself. This is called Mesopotamia. Mesopotamia is a civilization which developed along the Euphrates and Tigris River. The Euphrates and Tigris River, this is the area of the Mesopotamian civilization. We know a lot about Mesopotamia because we know about their script. Their script is called cuneiform. Cuneiform has been deciphered. And because of that, we know quite a lot about Mesopotamia. And in Mesopotamia, there is a reference to a word called Meluha. There's a reference to the word Meluha. And when we see these Meluhan objects, which had flown or which were basically either going through the sea route or going through the land route, they are basically Harappan crafts which are called Meluhan crops or Meluhan crafts. So we now know that with Oman, with Qatar, with Mesopotamia, Magan, Dilman, and Mesopotamia, there was a lot of flow of goods out of the Harappan civilization also. And that is why the need for seals, because it's to mark these objects with Harappan markings, that this is coming from Harappa. Mesopotamia tells us a lot about Harappa when it comes to trade partners. For example, from the Kish, Lagash, Nippur, and Ur, these are four very important sites. For example, like Harappa, Mohenjo-daro, and Ganeriwala, these are four very important sites of Mesopotamia. They tell us that from Meluha, which is Harappa, lapis lazuli, carnelian, gold, silver, copper, ebony, ivory, tortoise shell, chicken-like birds, dogs, cats, even monkeys, animals used to be transported from Harappa towards this area. And from Iran, we have found from sites, for example, Hisar, Tape, Susa. We've also found seals. And from Oman also we found Harappan seals and objects. Basically, what we are seeing here is that Harappa did not just remain within itself. It traded with its other contemporary civilizations also. And this in turn shows the sophistication and the way Harappa was also connected to others. Unfortunately, they talk about us, but we have not been able to figure out what were we talking about them. Currency was not, there was no currency, it's only barter. We used to give them lapis lazuli, they should give us something else. It's all barter based. Lapis lazuli is a, think of it like a diamond. It's a precious, semi-precious stone, which is used in earrings and in jewelry quite a lot till today. Simple point I'm trying to establish to you, that as much as they are internally connected, they are also externally connected. So when we talk about Harappa, Indus Valley civilization, we have established that it is urban. We've established that it is town planning, and that is why UPSC loves it. Town planning. We also established that it is modern when it comes to a lot of its features. We've established internal and external trade. Boat-drawn boats along the coast were used to also travel in the seas. Are we clear about this? Economy. I'm going to now add the next part. Till this point, are we clear? Yes. Barter system existed even before that. Barter is a standard thing. It's not about inventing. Barter is just exchange of goods. Okay. Now, when it comes to the economy, internal external trade is there. Agriculture, animal husbandry, and hunting and gathering. All four activities were done. We have evidence of all. And because it is craft based society and there is agriculture, it will be a stratified society. Means that there is division of society, but this division is not based on money, but it is based on what we call as occupational division. It's called occupational division. Occupational division means based on occupations. Crafter, for example, beater, for example, agriculturalist, hunter, animal husbandry. people were divided. It's not that they were divided according to money, because there's no concept of money. It's an occupational division. What are the different occupations? We have all forms of environment when it comes to Harappa. So from Mohenjo-daro and Harappa, we found wheat, we found barley, we found sesame, we found watermelon seeds, we found peas, we found dates, we found rice. You don't have to learn this. We found millets, and we have also found cotton. I use IVC or Harappa, does not really matter. Same thing I'm trying to say. Harappan civilization, IVC, same thing. Indus Valley civilization. How Harappans came to know living in other regions? Because they started to move into that direction. Either they came to us or we went to them. That's a simple point. Everybody explores. Now, cotton was grown in the Neolithic period, and Mehergarh gave us a lot of evidence. But cotton cloth, for the first time, we find in Indus Valley civilization. You don't have to learn all of this. You just have to understand that there is, when it comes to crops, what is the conclusion which can come out from here? What is the conclusion which can come out of this discussion when it comes to crops? If Meluha culture resemble IVC, there's more facts to be known. Meluha is referring to IVC only. This means this is called multi-cropping. It's called crop diversity. Nobody is going to ask you, tell us the crops produced by the Harappans. No. If there's a statement which says that Harappans only produced wheat, is it a right statement? No. This is why I am having this discussion with you. Not everything needs to be learned. Understand this point. It's about understanding how statement-based questions can be made. The simple point is, if it says only wheat and barley was known to Harappa, no, every different crop was known. So try to understand the purpose of the discussion. Nobody is going to ask you this. It is just the concept of telling you that how this civilization is so advanced. That's it. The wider connotation needs to be understood. Then we have plowed field having been found in Kalibangan, in Banavali, in Ropar, in Rakhigadi, and Bawalpur. Irrigation was also there. So they were using artificial irrigation channels also. And different types of wild animals are also used by them. Again, don't learn this. Deer, pig, boar, sheep, goat, ass, pig. That doesn't matter. The simple point is I need to discuss two very important points with you. Religion, writing, and then decline and polity. These are two other topics which are left. Religion and polity is quite important. Religion and writing is important. I've only established to you this point is this: IVC discovery, IVC characteristics, IVC economy, economy trade, economy agriculture, crop diversity. That's it. I've established these basic four facts to you. I'm basically going around showing you different aspects of Indus Valley civilization. Therefore, if there's a question which comes related to certain statements, you should be able to basically come to a conclusion that statement is correct or incorrect. We have established discovery chance, characteristics we've understood, trade internal external, agriculture is quite advanced with multiple crops. Are we clear? Four things. Okay, now comes the biggest issue with Indus Valley civilization. The biggest issue with Indus Valley civilization, which is their writing. Now see, most probably I'll give you on one slide consolidation, don't worry. I'll make that timeline in the end and that will be enough for you. Most probably there are different conditions for different crops, but they are also in throughout the different areas also. Don't worry about that. Now, they used to speak a language, sure. But the problem is the script which they used for that language, they haven't given us any way to figure out how to read it. This is the problem. See, When I say APPLE, it means apple. A-P-P-L-L. I'm making certain sounds from my larynx. Bad. Now you know the meaning of this. That B means B, A means A, D means D. Now this is called language into script. Language into script. And you can write different language in different scripts. For example, nahi, nahi. This is Devanagari script. This is Roman script, but Hindi language. So you can see that I can write a language which is the phonetical system, which comes out of my mouth. This sound which you see can be written down in a certain way. Now, the unfortunate part of this story is that we don't know what these symbols actually mean. This is called the Dholavira signboard. Signboard. It's a very big signboard which was there, but we don't know what it says. And the problem is 400 to 450 alphabets. Can't we use artificial intelligence to decipher this? Good question. For the past 5 years, I've been hearing that IIT Delhi has a machine learning and AI program running to figure this out. अभी तक तो कुछ नहीं है. Since 2015-16, I've been hearing that there's a study going on in IIT Delhi which is trying to decipher the Harappan script. Now it's 2023. I haven't heard from them. So the simple point is, even if the problem is there are 400 to 450 symbols. And if 450 symbols, every symbol has a different connotation. Now these are 3 out of the same. This is called a pictograph. It's called a pictograph. Pictograph means a picture connotates something. Connotation, this picture is connoting something. Looks like a fish. Sure. But maybe they were not trying to tell you a fish. Okay, this is a fish, then this is a tank. This is a tree. This is an arrow. But when AI can't figure it out, how will we? The simple point is that it's too much information to be processed. 7th line is dinosaur. Very good. This is a dinosaur. Very good. But that does not. Shark. Very good. Very beautiful. Shark. Very, very good. Very good. This is a ladder. Yes, yes. We are deciphering the script. Groundbreaking moment. But what does it mean? Cow, ladder. This is 5. This is 4. This is 2 lines. This is a tank. Whatever. You are pushing your own understanding onto them. First letter looks like a human. Very good. But tell me what it means. 4th is rainfall. तो आदमी गया बारिश में घूमने ट्रायंगल के अंदर. ये this is what it's saying. That the man went into the triangle in the rainfall. The fact of the matter is, you can break it down, but it will not do anything. The simple point is, only till you don't have what is called a Rosetta Stone. It's called the Rosetta Stone. Rosetta basically stone is a word which is used for a language transfer stone. We need a grammar book. We need a grammar book. We don't have it only. For example, cuneiform, the Rosetta Stone was found. The Egyptian script, Rosetta Stone was found. But we did not find anything where Harappans told us what this means in that sense. And neither do we see anywhere any parallel, in the sense that Harappan script was referred to by the Mesopotamians. Mesopotamians could have actually given us a Rosetta Stone or a guidebook. That is also not there. So unfortunately, writing, if it says in the examination, the Harappan script has been deciphered, the answer to that question is no. It hasn't. Longest we've seen 26. We've seen smaller also. But the linguists, that is why it's called proto-historic. There is writing, we don't know what it means. Now, but we know one thing also for sure. We know one thing for sure. Again, this is what linguists say, that they are called Bostrofenden. Bostrofenden. Bostrofenden language type. Now, this may be refuted later, but right now, this is the most closest we've gone to discover understanding the language. Bostrofenden means, see, if you write English or Hindi, you start from the left and you come back to the left. If you write in Arabic, you start from right and you come back to the right. For example, in English, what do you say? I am going to the market to get something. I will not get what you want, this and that. This is, you can see, I'm going like this, then I'm coming back to this point and then going like this, then coming back to this point and going like this. Bostrofenden is very interesting thing. It's consecutive left and right. They like this. I am going to the market to get something. I will not get what you want. So please do not disturb me. You see, this is called Bostrofenden. Starts like this, then goes like this, then goes like this, then goes like this. This is called left. This is called left, right, then left, right, left, right, left, right. Basically, this is called Bostrofenden. Bostrofenden style. Consecutive lines starting in opposite direction. We write like this. We always come to this point, left. They go from left to right, then change, right to left, then left to right, then right to left. So they say that Bostrofenden is that how, leave it to the linguists. This is the way. Script will never get deciphered in future. Till you give the examination, it isn't. So that statement remains right. After your examination, you clear it, doesn't really matter. As it is, you will not care about the IVC too much. So we have now established the concept of language. We have no idea about language. We have no idea what is written where. We have no idea what they wrote. If we write this type, meaning I don't get it. Harappan script has not been deciphered. Will you be able to put it in the examination saying, yes, it has not been deciphered? Till now, no past language is decoded. No, that is not true. I'm back. Can see me? Ah, okay. The camera was not connected. It was on battery low. Okay. Huh. So Bostrophendon we are talking about, and now that we have established Bostrophendon means left to right to left, consecutively different directions. We have established trade, agriculture, characteristics, and directional understanding of geography or discovery. And now we understand writing also. Now we come to the most important discussion, which is religion. We all are clear about this. Small issue, mostly rarely happens, but why not? Okay, great. Now, see, our hands are tied here. Our hands are tied here because when you have language, you get to know a lot about a lot of things. Now, when there is no language, it means that we look for things and we interpret it. Now, when it comes to religion, the word which is used for industrialization is called naturalistic religion. Naturalistic means that they worshipped nature as gods or goddesses. Meaning that sun comes up, I'm scared of the sun. I'm scared of the sun. So sun, moon, the forests, trees, water, fire, these are supernatural things. These are supernatural things. And when there are supernatural things, they tend to be seen as godly. So the reason why Great Bath is there is because there is water worship. The reason why fire altars is there because there is fires worship. We have a people tree worship, animals and tree, which is meanings that animal and plants worshipped as gods, which ironically we also did to do today. We also do today. We actually do the same thing. Kumbh Mela, Ganga Snan, water worship. Havan Kund, Havan, fire worship. We worship Agni, we worship Surya, we worship Tulsi, we worship people. We do it. The concept of sacred groves, what the tribals do. The fact is, it's not that naturalism is not part of our religion. The fact of the matter is that religion is something which is related to animals. We worship the cow, we worship animals, we worship a lot of things. And this is not something new, that naturalism is even part of Hinduism today. But then it's not, there are no temples we found. So there are no institutions of worship. But what we have found are figurines. These are called figures. This is called the famous mother goddess figure. This DK2384 means it was DK Chakravarti who found it, and is a 230, 200, 300, 2384th artifact he found it. So stop doing that. You will not get anything, or not, you're not decoding something new. So, the mother goddess figure has been found, and we've also found something. This is called the famous Pashupati seal. It's called the famous Pashupati seal. Now, this confirms to us that male and female god and goddesses were there. And what we also get to know is that they personify they personify nature. Guess what would a mother goddess or a female figure personify? Guess. Very good, Athira. Very good, Namrata. Very good, Vivek. Very good, Kirtana. Great. Sonia. Very good. Shipra, Swati. Beautiful. Okay. Fertility. This was the personification of land and its fertility. And that is why we have seen that we have found these figures under the surface of the plowed field. We do Bhumi Pujan. Do we do Bhumi Pujan, which is called the puja or the worship of the land god before we do something? It's called Bhumi Pujan. This is exactly Bhumi Pujan, wherein they put these figures into the ground, saying that Mother Goddess, give us a certain amount of harvest. Mother Goddess's figure, ironically, are not just available in Indus Valley civilization. It's found everywhere, from Egypt to Mesopotamia to any civilization you will go. Somehow, women are always associated with the fertility of the soil. But what is more interesting is this one, Pashupati. Now, Pashupati itself means that this is a story of animal husbandry. Animal husbandry. Animal husbandry. And we have a bull, a rhino, an elephant, and a tiger represented. There's something here we don't know what it means. But now there is a certain thing. There's a certain thing. I know a lot of you are writing that. Now listen to me. This seal is also called Proto-Shiva seal. Proto-Shiva seal. And people tend to argue that it is Lord Shiva. At least the British argue that. Now there are two things here. One is what you need to remember for the examination. And the other is something which I can tell you, but you have to promise that you don't distort your understanding with it. For the purpose of the examination, this is called Proto-Shiva seal, Pashupati seal. It is Lord Shiva. It is whatever the British said. It is depicting Shiva. But there is an academic understanding which basically is a little bit more nuanced and sophisticated. But if you will write that in the examination, or you will basically identify that in the examination, it will be problematic. So I only tell you that if you say that you will only listen to it for general knowledge, but not use it in the examination. That is a promise you have to make, because if you will start to say Proto-Shiva seal was found, correct statement, it is correct. Incorrect through certain understanding. Okay. So you are saying that you will not distort your understanding. Okay. Now, first tell me, this is a pati or a patni. Can you make that out? This is a male or a female. Do you know that? No. This figure in no way tells us the gender. Why woman and man can look like this? Why not? So first thing is, we don't know it is a Pashupatni or a Pati. First. Second, where is the beard? Where is the beard? You are finding a beard. Yogic position can be taken by men and women both. You are assuming gender. You are looking for what you want to look for. If you want to see a man here, you will see a man. If you want to see a woman here, we will see a woman. We have no indication that it is a man or a woman. Okay. Second, the idea of Shiva, Shakti, Adi Shakti, whatever you are writing here, or the Nareshwar, whatever you're writing here, they have nothing to do with IVC. They don't have long hair. Why? Women can't have short hair. Try to understand this point. Shiva, Shakti, these are called Puranic Hinduistic gods. I will tell you this. Hinduism came in a more pure form and early form that is called Vedic Brahmanism. Its origin is in the Vedic period through the Rig Veda, not even the Rig Veda, the later Vedic, which is Samved, Yajurved, Atharved. And even in the Vedas, Lord Shiva and Vishnu are not there. Who are there is Rudra, Indra, what we call Varun, Agni. Again, gods which are basically related to the nature. Indra is the god of what we call as rainfall. Varun, Vayu, Aditi. These are nature gods. And what we today associate with Hinduism is basically a diluted form of Vedic Brahmanism, which is based on the Bhagavad Puran. I have to teach you this because I will teach you Puranic Hinduism, which is Gupta period. So the problem of calling this figure Lord Shiva is that for the next 1000, close to 1800, 2000 years, the Shaivite cult or the Shaivite representation is not going to become very, very common. When the Dasavatar concept of Lord Vishnu will come up, then the avatar concept of Lord Shiva will come up. Basically, what you are doing here is called, in very technical terms, anachronism. Anachronism in Hindi is called Kal Bhram. Basically, if I want to look for something, I can find it there if I want to look for it. I can also say that he or she is wearing a bulletproof jacket. And in this hand, she has an iPhone. And I can also say that this bull has a chip in it. Meaning, if I want to look for it, I can say this is a bulletproof vest. Because I want to look for a bulletproof vest. So, Sania, as I told you, for the purpose of the examination, this is a Proto-Shiva seal. Because the British looked for Lord Shiva and they called it. This is John Marshall's understanding. Literally John Marshall's understanding. Marshall was the first one to call it Proto-Shiva. Till today, they say that it is Proto-Shiva. I am telling you that now what the history is here, what we study today in even BA Honors, Masters in MPhil, PhD, it's not called Proto-Shiva, it's called Pashupati, which is it's an animal husbandry representing seal. And Proto-Shiva is mostly a exaggeration by the British. Why do you not call it Proto-Vishnu? Why can't you call it Proto-Shakti? Why can't you call it Proto-Ganesh? Why are you calling Proto-Shiva only? What is there to tell you that it is Lord Shiva? Understand this point. What you look for, you find. So Pashupati is Proto-Shiva according to standard understanding. Every book will say it. Every NCERT will say it, but not academic books will say it. So in history, because I don't know what this thing says. If today this says, what if it says random person? Then what? Bull as Nandi. Okay, then what? Tiger, you will say Shakti. Then elephant, is Lord Ganesh. Then rhino, what? In the examination, you write Pashupati seal and you write Proto Shiva seal. I told you this information should not automatically distort your level of examination, understanding. For the purpose of the examination, this is Proto Shiva as the British told us. The British have distorted a lot of things. Another revelation I will tell you later, for something which you take for granted even till today. That I will tell you in medieval India. Because one movie has been not based on husband and wife, but actually on father-in-law and daughter-in-law. And that is also a British distortion. Things happen because the British did it. This is called Proto Shiva. According to Proto Shiva, that is it. So, for the purpose of the examination, male and female goddesses have been found. Pashupati seal is representative of yogic and linga position itself. It is called Proto Shiva. We have animal worship, we have water worship, we have no temples. Are we clear about this? Why Britishers told us that? Because that is what they wanted to see here. Can't expect a Britisher to be too knowledgeable about religion. Is religion clear? Naturalistic, male and female goddesses, no temple, and Proto Shiva seal, mother goddess figures. Is everybody clear about it? Yes. Okay, great. Why is it written DK23? That is the artifact number. Okay. How do we conclude that fire was worshipped? Because in Kalibangan, fire was placed in all strategic places, and there are things we found around the fire altar. One thing is still today related in that sense. See, if you start to do that, you will deconstruct whole of history. You and me call what? This is what? This is what? This is what? What is this? This is a pen. But after 1 lakh years, they would not call it a pen. So we are doing what we're trying to look for. That is the basic point. This is the basic point. What gave them Pashupati? Pashu means animal, Pati means husbandry. Pashupati has animal husbandry. That's a more apt way of saying it, because yes, there is animal husbandry. Okay. Same is true for Mesopotamia, but Mesopotamia, because we have script, we know. Same is true for Egypt. Same is true for every civilization. Wherever writing has not been figured out or only archaeological sources are there, it could be anything. Okay. Because unfortunately, see, I'll give you a very simple example. In 1950 and in 1960, making a video was not a career. So today, if you bring back Pandit Nehru and Patel and show them that TikTok, Moj and Mohe Mohe, they will say, what are they doing? Because according to them, this is absurd. According to them, this is absurd. In the past 20 years, making random videos and dancing in public was actually not a career. Because there is too much unemployment, we started to do it. So the point is, with time, perception changes. Go and say to your parents that I want to full-time make videos, and my video is going to be that I will dance in public places. They will literally take out the downs out of you. But maybe 4 generations forward, UPSC will know, nobody will do UPSC, everybody will make video only, TikTok. So with time, perception changes. That's a standard thing. That's a standard thing. For the purpose, we call it Pashupati seal, Proto Shiva seal. Perfect. Okay. Sir, is history repeat? They're asking me, does history repeat itself? Sure. No, there was no religion in Mesopotamia. Religion in Mesopotamia was very elaborate. They have proper temples, they have proper goddesses. They're all defined quite well. Mesopotamia is much more advanced, much better known in that sense. Not advanced, but much better known. Okay. Can I talk about polity and then talk about the decline? Yes. Okay. Now, when we talk about polity, we only know three things. With the level of specialization, uniformity, and standardization, we know that there was a mature form of polity or state. That is for sure. Some form of state was there. Now the question is nature. And here we go from black and white to gray, which means we have no idea. Some historians say it is priest rule. Some say it is merchant rule. No idea at all. UPSC can't ask you a question from here because there is no conclusive evidence whatsoever about this. For it, we need the decipher text, and we don't have that. You say women ruled it, sure. You said monkeys ruled it, sure. You said that anybody ruled it, sure. There is no right and wrong answer here. We just know that there's a mature state here. This is a priest. But I don't know it is a priest or not. But you and me associate this type of attire with priesthood. What if he's a dancer? Or he's not a dancer, he's a merchant. This is by British called the priest king. This is called the priest king statue. Again, British categorization. British nomenclature. And now we know that we can't trust the British too much with this nomenclature also. Because, as I said, I don't know who he is. It could be college of priests, it could be college of clowns, it could be college of monkeys, it could be college of anybody. The simple fact of the matter is it true that humans in IBC have horns on their head? No. ये कहाँ से मिल गया भाई? Where did you get? For the first time I'm looking at it. No horns on heads. See, all history is Eurocentric. All Indian history is British centric. That is a given fact. See, the simple point is there's a small inscription on the bottom here. It says something. We don't know what it is. What I mean to say is citadel complex, uniformity, standardization may tell us Pashupati seal has horns. अरे ये headgear है. ये horn उसके अंदर. This is a cap. This is not coming out of him. Headgear. The horn is not coming out of the man. Headgear. Simple point. I actually cannot confirm anything to you because there is a debate. Simple, straight forward point. Are we clear about polity? Yes. No pre-question can come because UPSC can't ask a question from this. There is no conclusive evidence for anything. My guess only, but maybe Lord Shiva is known for Pashupati in Kathmandu. Lord Shiva is worshipped as Pashupati. I mean, guess. Good guess. But again, it is based on modern ideas. But statue was damaged because it has been found after 4,000 years. Simple point is, polity, there's no answer. If that IIT Delhi machine can give an answer, maybe we'll know better. No idea. Move to decline. Okay. Karaku, time का बड़ा पक्का है तू, हाँ? Sir, don't waste time on this debate. I spoke to Mukesh sir. He told me you have this tendency. Beautiful. Time. Don't waste time. Okay. Okay. So now we come to decline. He remembers you quite well. Okay. I told him about you. He said, yeah, same thing. Now, decline. In decline, there are four theories. And the four theories, there's one which is considered very famous and it was made famous by a person called John Marshall. And it's called the Aryan invasion theory. Now, tomorrow, first thing what I teach you is the concept of Aryan. Yeah, this is also a gray part. Is the Aryan. Yes, Shargun, I can see your comments. Now, see, Aryan concept I will discuss with you tomorrow, but let me tell you the pretext in which he gave this concept. So basically, from IVC, we have got no evidence of warfare and weapons. So basically, John Marshall excavated a site near Harappa where 26 dead bodies were buried together. And on those dead bodies, there were arrow marks, or what we call as in the skeleton, arrows were embedded. So based on that one site, one burial, John Marshall said somebody came from outside. These Aryans came from outside. They killed the Harappans and took over their civilization. And that is why Indra is called Purandar, the one who destroys forts. एक side. Now, Aryan migration happened. Perfect, Shargu. Aryan migration happened. That is what I will teach you tomorrow. But this word invasion is the problem. And if you look at the theory itself, you will actually realize the agenda behind John Marshall. Why is John Marshall talking about an invasion? Why is John Marshall talking about an invasion? He's talking about an invasion because he's trying to justify British rule in India. That you Indians, you are always ruled by somebody who came, killed, and took your civilization. So you see, Indus Valley civilization, somebody came, killed, and took over. So we are the new Aryans. So history repeats itself. So out of the four theories, one thing is very clear, that this one is the least plausible. Because this is John Marshall's agenda. This is a proper agenda. Agenda to justify British rule. That we the British, we are no different. We also came, we killed all of you, and now we are ruling. See, this happens every time. Please correlate with prelims questions. I'll do that. So the first theory automatically gets more or less rejected. But Aryan migration is the first topic we do tomorrow. And I will tell you what this Aryan concept is. But what seems to be more plausible are the next three. One is called flooding and hydrological issues. One is called desiccation, which means to be very dry, and environmental change. And the last is called trade and external linkage. Again, here, no uniformity, no set answer, because every site has a different idea. I'll give you how it is like that. See, there was a river here, and there was a settlement here. Now, in their youthful phase, what do rivers do when they come into plains? In their youthful phase, when they come into the plains, what do they do? Very good. They meander. They meander. Meandering means they move around. Now imagine there was one site here and there was one site here. This river meandered to this point. Now what will happen is this will see a lot of dryness because water resource has gone, and this will say flooding. And therefore we believe that the Indus Valley zone used to be very green, very green. That is why Rajasthan, we believe, that was very green, had forests, had water bodies in Rajasthan. But later during this 1500 1700 period, environmental change happens and rivers start to meander away, and one river actually dried up, and that river is called the Saraswati River. It's called the Saraswati River. It's called the legendary Saraswati River, which nobody has ever found. But now we are finding archaeological deposits of the way we go into certain areas. So when we talk about desiccation, when we talk about flooding, all these three are quite common. We believe that Mesopotamia became what we call as started to decline. So maybe trade declined, and therefore the trade network starting to decline affected the Harappan civilization. At the same point of time, desiccation and flooding also came in. Now, why am I having this discussion with regards to polity and decline? For two very simple reasons. In the examination, if it says Harappan civilization declined due to flooding, that is the right statement, incorrect statement. It will be a correct statement because the examiner is presuming that it is flooding. Through these two slides, I've given you only two things. I've given you every possible answer which the question or which the examiner can actually ask you. If he says priesthood, yes. If he says merchant, yes. If he says flooding, yes. Desiccation, yes. Trade, yes. Aryan invasion, yes. Meaning that there are multiple answers to that statement. Don't go hastily marking it incorrect because you don't know what the examiner is thinking about. So be very clear, very clear. It's a mixture of these causes and we have no clarity here. So any statement which comes close to any of these options, it should be correct. Make sense? I'm not going out of focus. Every discussion I have a purpose. So, Mir, Munib, don't worry about it. I know where to focus. I never teach unnecessary things. The simple point is, you don't know what the UPSC examiner is thinking. So there can be any of these options in the examination and it will be correct. Which one is the correct one? All of them. When there's a debate, any option becomes correct. If it says only, yes, very good point. If it says only, then you basically make it incorrect. Harappan civilization decayed only because of flooding. Then it's an incorrect statement. If it says because of flooding, it's okay. Only, then it's a wrong statement. So there is no mains answer you have to write. It's a prelims oriented area and statement based questions can be asked to you. So, simple point. With this, we finish the first module, which is prehistory and Indus Valley civilization. Now, what I want to do is I want to consolidate the module number 1 through a timeline. If we understand all of this, I can do that. Last two, polity decline, is just to make sure that you don't start to make incorrect statements correct or correct to incorrect without understanding. Can we do that? How can trade decline when all these civilizations decline? It can happen. Okay. Now, if you can understand this slide, you can automatically remember the first module. Desiccation means very dry environment. And I am seeing a very important tendency here, and I will be very, very clear in telling you this very clearly. Stop telling me things. Ask me, I'll be happy to answer any question. But stop telling me things. I know what I'm doing. So if you have an understanding of history, sure, keep it to yourself. Stop telling me things. Because it is not about respect or disrespect. It's about being annoying and not annoying. Where I'm focusing, where I'm not focusing, it is my call. Don't worry about that. Examination questions will come. I know what will come and what will not come. So don't worry about that. So stop doing this. A lot of you have this very bad tendency, which is that if you already know the subject, then don't be here. And if you don't know it, then you be here. So faith in the subject, faith in the material, faith in the teacher is very important. So be very, very important. If you already know it, you are not going to prove anything to me. Any day, I've been doing this for now more than a decade. So I am a PhD in history. So be very clear that I will know more than you at any point of time. At any point of time. So don't worry about that. And the fact of the matter is, I never teach unnecessary things. That is a tendency I have. I understand you are human. What I have to focus and not focus is a totally different thing. Okay. Paleolithic, Mesolithic, Neolithic, non-Harappan, Chalcolithic, IVC. Okay. Now, we can do one thing. We can push it closer here. 1 second. Okay. No state, early state formation, You see how I am writing it down? This is how you remember. Mature state, nature, not known. Nature, we don't know. Thereafter, Munib, you have to be more specific. You're telling me camera focus, you're talking about, you're writing, you're going out of focus. No economy. No economy. No economy. Rural agricultural sites, internal and external trade. We have hunting, gathering, and you are seeing I am moving laterally because I am looking at them in a way of evolutionary understanding. Hunting, gathering, animal husbandry, which is domestication, of animals. Then hunting and gathering, animal husbandry, but also agriculture. Here you have same do, and here you have same thing, which is hunting, gathering, animal husbandry, and do means same thing. Thereafter, simple society, complex society, complex society. And you would see in certain books it will say patriarchal society, women were this, women were that. All assumptions, because we have no clarity about that. We believe it is patriarchal, we believe it is something, but there is no clarity about that. All, some will say matrilineal, again assumption. Occupational differentiation. Stratified means complex only. Stratified means stratified layers. Stratified. Now one thing about them is no currency, no currency, no currency, no currency, no currency, no currency. They are rural cultures, but herein comes, we don't have specificities. No, again, this is a town urbanized, first urbanization, town planning, water management, standardization, uniformity, and crop diversity. We have craft diversity. And let's talk about religion then. Okay, one thing. Fire, microliths, agricultural tools, agri-tools. Thereafter, no currency means barter only. Here it says, here it should be stone, copper plus stone. Here it will be copper plus stone plus bronze. Thereafter, we can go one step further. No rituals and burials, rituals and burials, rituals and burials. But here we get, one second. Okay. And we have to go for naturalistic religion, god and goddesses, no temples, no weapons and warfare. Any other aspect we want to add? See, this is called consolidation. This is called what I call a master timeline. I'm going to keep on expanding this timeline. I'll keep on adding it. By the end of your ancient India, we will add all of this together in one way. But I will make it more simpler and simpler. Pottery here. Pottery emerges. Rituals, burials already done. Standardization done. Occupational division done. It's complete. Use of gold. Once you come to what? Chalcolithic use of gold. So we believe that they had rituals and burials. See, seals don't add micro topic. Trade I've already done, internal, external. The more detail you'll add it, the bigger it will become and more complicated it will become. Everything what I've taught you, taxation, no taxation all throughout. No taxation, no taxation. When there is no state, there will be no taxation. No taxation. We have no evidence of taxation here also. No taxation. Now, what I want from you is I've made this for you. By the end of it, you should be capable of making it yourself. What I'm trying to show you here is a very simple point. Everything what I tell you is not important. What is important is this progression. This progression. You can see how things are progressing in a way. And if you can remember this slide, one module and 2 classes is complete. This is the bare minimum you need to answer any question. And more or less 99.9% of the questions can be done from here only. 0.1%, maybe they will go into a depth question. For that you may have to go to the other slides. Burial rituals, naturalistic religion means burial rituals automatically implicated into that. You don't have to learn the type of crafts. You don't have to learn the trade routes. You don't have to learn like any of that. So very simply, I'll leave you today 5 minutes early because of the webinar itself. But if this is clear, then we'll break for today. Everybody, come on. We are all clear? This is history for you. And I don't know, did you think history was like this or not? There's a lot of misconception. This is history. And we'll keep on adding this more and more, becoming better and better. And if you learn the timeline, it will automatically be clear to you. Done? Okay. So I leave you today 5 minutes early. You can go for the webinar now. Thank you so much. Silk Route and all, you are trying to bring in too much things that does not exist right now. There's the Chinese civilization right now. No need to know the specific seeds and all. No. Nothing like that. Okay. Thank you. Take care and bye-bye. I'll see you tomorrow, same time. We start Aryan, Vedic, Mahajanpada. Very important. Very, very important topic. Very important. See you.
to stop this. Start yourself.
Yeah.
My photo.